I never thought my own brother would try to saddle me with a massive debt just to keep up his perfect son charade. But the look on his face when I finally uncovered his secret, that was worth every single penny I refused to give him. So, let me set the scene for you. My name's Jake, and for my entire life, I've been the backup son. In my family, there were two roles, the golden child and me. That golden child title, that always belonged to my older brother, Ethan. Ethan could do no wrong. He'd get average grades, and my parents would act like he was the next Einstein. He'd land some dead-end sales gig, and suddenly he was a business genius. Meanwhile, I could be acing my classes, landing scholarships, and all I'd ever get was a lukewarm, "That's nice, Jake." But did you hear Ethan got a promotion? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not bitter that he got attention. What ate at me was how he milked it. He figured out early on that as long as he kept up the illusion of success, my parents would bend over backward to make sure he never actually had to struggle. And oh, he struggled. Just not where anyone could see. He was the king of big ideas with zero follow-through. He'd start a business, let crash. Move to a new city for an amazing opportunity, and come crawling back broke 6 months later. And every single time my parents bailed him out. If I ever needed help, crickets. Luckily, I didn't need it. I worked my butt off, built a successful career, and I'm in a really good place financially. But you know what happens when you finally make it in a family like that? You stop being a son. You become the family ATM. At first, it was small things. "Oh, Jake," my mom would say, "since you're doing so well, could you just help Ethan with rent this month?" Or Ethan would call, dropping hints like, "Man, I just need a little boost." It's nothing to you, right? I shut that down fast. I have no problem helping people who actually need it, but I refuse to fund my brother's fantasy lifestyle. Every time I said no, I was the bad guy. "You're so selfish, Jake. Don't you want your brother to succeed?" So I pulled back. I started distancing myself, and for a while it was quiet. Then he did something so insane, so completely off the rails, I honestly thought it was a joke. A few months ago, my phone rings. An actual call from my parents, which is rare. I answered, thinking something was wrong. Instead, my mom was practically giddy. "Jake, you won't believe it. Your brother just did something amazing." I'd heard this one before. I figured he'd get a new job or found another sucker to invest in some half-baked idea. I knew the script. They'd hype him up, wait for me to say something supportive, then slide in the request for money. So I played along. "Oh yeah? What did he do?" "He bought us a house," she squealed. "A beautiful, brand new house in a gated community. He surprised us with the keys today." I'll be honest, that caught me off guard. Ethan, buying a house. This is a guy who usually has less than a few $100 to his name. And in a gated community, that's serious money. I was skeptical, but I kept my voice neutral. "Wow, that's generous of him." "I know," my dad jumped in. "It just shows how responsible he's become. He did it all for us." I had to fight the urge to roll my eyes. Ethan was about as responsible as a raccoon in a trash can. Something wasn't adding up. "That's great," I said, trying to end the call. "So what's the catch?" They went silent, just for a split second, but it was long enough. "What do you mean, Jake?" "There's no catch." "Uh-huh, sure." I knew something was fishy, and it didn't take long for the other shoe to drop. A few days later, Ethan calls me. He only ever calls when he wants something. "Hey, bro, how's it going?" he said, his voice way too cheerful. "What do you want, Ethan?" I cut right to it. "Whoa, what? Can a guy just call his little brother to chat?" I let the silence hang in the air. He sighed dramatically. "Okay, fine. I need a little favor. Just a tiny thing." "Spit it out." "So, you know the house I got from Mom and Dad? Well, the bank kind of needs the first payment soon, and I was thinking..." I hung up. I didn't say a word. Just clicked the button. End of call. Within minutes, he called back. I ignored it. Then a text. "Dude, my call dropped. Weird timing, LOL. Anyway, I just need a little help this month." I left him on read. Then another text. "Come on, man. You're rich. It's not a big deal for you." And there it was. That entitlement. that assumption that my success was his safety net. I finally replied, "You bought a house you can't afford and expected me to cover it. Dude, it's not like that. I totally have it under control. I just need a little boost." Right? Because Ethan is known for his financial stability. I just texted back, "Not my problem." That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. The next morning, I woke up to a barrage of guilt trips. A text from my mom. "Jake, I don't understand why you're being so cold. He did something amazing for this family. Are you really going to let your own brother struggle?" Then one from Ethan. "Bro, just think about it. It's for mom and dad. You want them to lose their house." The manipulation was so blatant. He was trying to emotionally blackmail me into financing his hero complex. It was his name on the loan, his responsibility. So I decided it was time to do something he never saw coming. I called the bank. I wanted to know just how deep this hole was. And when I found out, that's when the real chaos began. I called the bank first thing in the morning. I explained who I was and asked about the payment schedule for the property. The woman on the phone was polite, but when I pressed for details, her tone shifted. "Well, sir," she said, "I can confirm the first payment is due next week, and it's a significant amount." The loan was processed with a sizable interest rate. Then she paused. "However, there are some concerns." My stomach dropped. "What kind of concerns?" "I'm afraid there's an issue with the credit history he submitted. It doesn't seem to match the usual criteria for this type of loan. We've already sent him multiple reminders about his upcoming payment." My blood ran cold. So he'd somehow faked his way into a massive, high-interest loan he had no hope of paying, all to play the hero. He was in over his head, and he hadn't told our parents a thing. He probably never planned on paying it himself. That's where I was supposed to come in. I hung up the phone, furious. This wasn't about family anymore. This was about him treating me like his personal bank, and I was done. The next few days were a storm of texts and calls. "Jake, please," my dad texted. "Ethan is just trying to do the right thing by the family." Then my mom. "Why can't you help him just a little? It's not like you'll even notice the money is gone." Finally, Ethan got me on the phone. "Come on, bro," he said, his voice dripping with that fake charm. "You know this house means everything to mom and dad. They're going to lose it all because of this stupid loan." I'll let him finish. Then I said slowly, "You're not doing this for the family, Ethan. You're doing this for yourself. You bought that house so you could play the hero, and now that it's all crashing down, you want me to clean up your mess." He was quiet for a second. Then, almost a whisper, "You don't even care about me, do you?" The manipulation was so familiar, it was almost comforting. "You've made that pretty clear over the years, haven't you?" I replied coldly, "You don't care about me, Ethan. You just care about what I can do for you." He muttered something about how he was wrong about me and hung up. The next morning, my dad called. His voice was ice. "Jake, you need to help your brother. This is your chance to show him you're there for him." "Dad," I said, my voice shaking a little, "he made this decision. He can figure out how to fix it. After everything we've done for you." And that was it. The turning point. They'd chosen him. Again, I knew right then, if they were going to keep treating me like this, I was done. But I had one last card to play. I let them stew for a few days. Then my mom called, her voice tense. "Jake, we need to talk. Ethan's in trouble. You have to help him." "Mom," I said, "Ethan is an adult. It's not my job to fix this." "You're being so stubborn," she snapped. "This is family." "You keep saying it's about family," I shot back, "but all you're doing is enabling him. He'll never learn if I keep bailing him out." Her silence was deafening. "Please, Jake," she finally whispered. "We're begging you." That's when I played my hand. "Okay," I said, my voice calm and measured. "I'll help." I could almost hear the hope in her voice. But I continued, "It's going to be on my terms. I'm not writing him a check. I'm not paying his bills. What I will do is cover all the fees for him to sell the house and pay off the loan immediately. He moves out, and this disaster is over. But if he ever pulls something like this again, I'm done. For good." There was a long, stunned silence. This wasn't the answer she wanted. She didn't want a solution. She wanted a blank check. You're really going to make him do that? She asked, her voice trembling. Yes, I said, because I'm not going to be a part of this anymore. Then she hung up. It all came to a head a few days later. My mom called, and there was no pretense, no niceties. Just pure rage. How could you do this to him? She screamed. How could you stand by and watch him lose everything? This isn't the son I raised. I just let her yell. I do care about him, Mom, I said when she finally paused for breath. But caring about him doesn't mean I have to ruin my own future to fix his mistakes. I'm done being the bank. We've always been a family, Jake, she said, her voice breaking. You're tearing it apart. Maybe it's already broken, I replied, the words sharper than I intended. And I've just been too blind to see it. The call ended. That evening, I got one last text from Ethan. You've really shown your true colors. I thought you were my brother. I'll figure this out on my own. But don't ever call me again. I'm done with you. It stung. It really did. But underneath the sting was relief. He was pushing me away, and it felt like the permission I never knew I needed. The days that followed were quiet. No angry calls, no guilt-tripping texts. For the first time in my adult life, my phone was silent. I could finally breathe. My dad called one last time, his voice resigned. I don't know who you are anymore, Jake. And with that, he hung up. That was the last time I spoke to any of them. I had severed the connection to my past. The weight was gone. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. As for Ethan, I have no idea what happened with the house, or with him. But that's not my problem anymore. He would have to figure out on his own, just like I always had. I finally chose myself. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt peace.